Well, moving on now to other news, the remains of South Africans who died in the Nigerian church building collapse have been transported to their provinces of origin. Well, today, the Eastern Cape provincial government is holding a memorial service for the victims. Let's now cross to our reporter, Abongile Dumako, who is in Port Elizabeth for an update on the proceedings. Well, good morning, Abongile. Kindly just paint a picture for us of what is happening there.
Good morning to you, Tumelo Mututwana. Of course, it was about 5 months ago when South Africa was in mourning following the tragic incident at the Nigeria church building in Nigeria. Basically, here today we are live and direct from Port Elizabeth at Livingstone Hospital. We are here to bid farewell to those 3 victims who hail from the province. Remember, some days ago, they arrived from Nigeria in Pretoria. Now they've been since transported here to the province, and now we're having a memorial service, and they are expected to be buried in as far as the culture and the province is concerned in helping them out. But now I am joined by Social Development MEC Nancy Sihluai to just tell us what are some of the plans that are in place to make sure that everything is smooth and it goes in according to plan. MEC Sihluai, good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time.
Molo tatu abunkile.
Ma'am, basically we are here to bid farewell to the last victims of the Nigeria building collapse. Thus far, how has things been?
I think perhaps first thing is to salute our president and the government of South Africa on the road well traveled on behalf of the families and on behalf of the communities of our country. From the first day, the government entered those families without notice when we heard about the sad news. And up to date, government is in and out on those families in terms of making sure that the grief that they have does not belong only to them, it's the grief of the country and more so of the world. Today you are here to do a closure on a process which is culturally, I would say, was not accepted. Because in our culture, you can't have your loved one not being buried after two weeks. But in this instance, it has happened. And we believe those families are our heroes in our lifetime. Today we are to close with 3 families. The family of Yudniheki, Kwamzinyati, Amabele, Umamangu, Machonyane. Sibene family that comes from Alisdale, Grahamstown, Yako Joel. Sibene family that comes from East London, Yako Jordan. It is our view as government that without them, government would not have won the war that we had. But we do want also to appreciate the cooperation between the 2 governments, Nigeria and South Africa. In particular, the church of Pastor Joshua, in listening to the grief and in listening to some words that perhaps negated the process, and the understanding that said when a trauma of that nature has happened, many things are said. Okay. Thank you very much for that understanding.
Madam MEC, in as far as your interventions are concerned as social development in the Eastern Cape, what are plans in place to try and sort of meet the families halfway in as far as this whole ordeal is concerned?
The families were clear that the budget, the millions that have been spent by government in intervening was not necessary. They did not expect it because it was individual decision to have that religion and that belief. And the disaster that has happened, they said it themselves that they thought it's going to be trauma for themselves. What social development has done is to deal with the issues of counseling, deal with material issues, social relief, on food security, and issues of those that could not go back to school because the person whom they have lost was the breadwinner, and also deal with the health problems of some families. Today, you are going to attach a social worker to each family as a way forward and post the funeral days so that we are with them until they accept and until they find a way forward and they move on with their lives.
And then, Madam, with regards to funeral preparations, where are we from now? When is the funeral expected to take place, and when?
The family of Nzinyati has managed to tell us immediately that they are burying their loved one, Clifford, on the 14th. They are here. They're going to tell us. We don't want to decide on them when are the funeral dates, and immediately we'll be able to inform the committee and the public at large on those funerals. We have agreed with the clergies around me that it is our responsibility to go and finally close the grief with those families. And I think a very clear program of deployment is going to be reached this afternoon so that they go house to house and be part and parcel of those families.
Social Development MEC in the Eastern Cape, Nancy Sishwayi, thank you so much for your time, Mama.
Thank you very much, Abongile. Ndiyabulela kakhulu. Sihambe nani endleleni ningasilahli. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you so much. Tumelo Mututwana, there you go. The MEC expressing herself in the deep Xhosa language here from the Eastern Cape. But that's all we have time for now. I probably will come back to us a little later with regards to what other developments in as far as the memorial service is concerned. It's back to you now in studio in Johannesburg. Thank
you so much, Abongile. I'm a Pedi-speaking woman, but I definitely heard bits and pieces of the Xhosa. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. That is our SABC News reporter, Abongile Dumako, who's based in Port Elizabeth, of course, speaking there to the MEC of Social Development in the Eastern Cape, Mam Nancy Sishwayi. But if you missed bits and pieces of that conversation, let's just remind you just briefly of what's been there. I mean, the MEC, of course, thanked both the governments of South Africa and Nigeria for their cooperation in assisting the families in receiving back the remains of their loved ones, and also thank the Church of All Nations Prophet TB Joshua, of course, for their cooperation as well. But in as far as funeral arrangements are concerned, we heard there from the MEC saying that one of the victims' family representatives did mention that their loved one will be buried on the 14th of February. But in as far as the department's concerned, their involvement going forward, especially even post our funeral, will be ensuring that they offer counselling, they offer social relief such as food parcels, especially to those victims who are, of course, breadwinners in their families. Well, thank you so much to our reporter.